Hello everyone. I hope you are doing well. Welcome to this series of newspaper analysis. Today there are many important topics in Indian Express newspaper in which I will talk you about the important topics in the topics which are mentioned in which have come in Indian Express today. Mainly that topics that there are not many topics, but the topics which are important that I will deal with today. In the world page, if you see, then there is one topics about rhinoceros. So about rhinos, how the scientists are that discovered some new material, that is radioactive material, which can be helpful in preserving, which can be helpful in that deter the poachers and traffickers. So these kinds of news are there, so I will pick those news only today, and that news I will discuss. So now let us come to the first news, that is in the on the world page. So first news is on rhinoceros. Here, if you will see the previous that PYQ question of UPSC, then they have asked about the rhinoceros frequently. Means if you see 1 years, 2 years gap, that PYQ questions, then you will see that they have asked you about the rhinos, dolphins, that elephants, tigers. So they are very much in news also, and these species are also a kind of a keystone species or also a flagship species. So they are very much in news also, and their conservation programs are also in news, either for Project Tiger, Project Elephant, for rhinoceros also. So you have to know about the rhinoceros, what are its IUCN status, what in which sites it is mentioned, what is its conservation program. So first of all, we will see about the rhinoceros in detail here. So rhinoceros are in there are different species of rhinoceros. So in India you can only find the one horn rhinoceros. So if in India case, you will find only in India only one horned rhinos are there. That one horned rhinos are considered as a vulnerable. So vulnerable, it's according to IUCN status. So so this one horned rhinoceros are vulnerable, and if you see the PYQ of that 2019 papers, that of UPSC, then there you can find this about one horn rhinoceros. If you see that PYQ of that 2019 paper, so in that 2019 questions of UPSC of that prelims, if you will see, then there is a third option in which they have asked about one horn rhinoceros is naturally found in India only. So that is correct, that it is found in that on that in India only one horn rhinoceros are found, but it is not correct that only that one horn rhinos are found in India only. So if you listen the if you read the statement carefully, then you will see how UPSC are playing with the words. So they are adding only either in that in first statement, or they are adding either at last in a statement, if you see. So they have asked one horn rhinoceros is naturally found in India only. No, this is a wrong statement. If they would have asked in this way, that one horn rhinoceros in India only one horn rhinoceros is found, that statement would be correct, but they have not asked in this manner. So if you are solving those PYQ questions, then you have to read the statement, you have to analyze how the UPSC are framing the questions, and how by knowing the fact also, by knowing the theory also, you can commit mistakes there. If you read in a hurry, then obviously you will commit a mistake there. So the one horn rhinoceros is vulnerable, that you know. So you have to learn this, that ICN status, what is their sites status, what is their that Wildlife Protection Act, in which schedules the animals are kept. So these three things you have to remember. It can also be asked in your state PCS, like now that Bihar Public Service Commission exam, which will be held on that in September, in October September. In that paper also these questions can be asked. So you have to know about these things. So for insights appendix 1, you know, if you have read about these sites, if you have read about the Wildlife Protection Acts, then they are kept in schedule 1. So these are a protection that how in appendix 1, if you are that keeping any animal, then you know that in appendix 1 there is a very stringent protection is there. Their laws are very stringent, that punishment is also very stringent punishment is there. So if you are keeping in appendix 1, then obviously that animals can't be hunted, that's are given a high protection, you know. So these things you have to remember. So you know, you should remember that it's a vulnerable species. Now coming to the different species of rhinoceros, which are found in other parts of country, which are found in other country also, like when you come to the species of other species of rhino, other species of rhino, then there is one species, that is white rhino, one is black rhino, and one I have talked about, that one horn rhino, which are found in India. And if you come to the next rhino, that is the great horn rhino, which I have talked. Now you come to Sumatran rhino, and one is Javan rhino. So these 5 rhinos are there. The species of rhinos are these 5 species. So first of all, when you come to this white rhino, so white rhino are ICN status. So only ICN status you remember, because they are not going to ask you about this that where white rhinos lives, what are the their conditions. So because in Indian perspective, from India, where it's like in India only is one horn rhino are found. So about one horn rhino you have to read about in detail, as its conservation status, which conservation programs are government implementing. So but only for these rhino you have to remember this IUCN status, that is sufficient for this rhino. So it is a near threatened. Black rhino of IUCN status of black rhino is critically endangered. Sumatran rhino IUCN status is critically endangered, and Javan rhino status is critically endangered. So it is very much easy to remember here, because if you see only one horn rhinos are vulnerable, otherwise every rhino except that white rhinos all are critically endangered. So if you remember that one horn rhino and white rhino, then all except then the what rhinos are left, that 3 rhinos are black rhino, Sumatran rhino, Javan rhino species that are, you can say, critically endangered. So this much you have to remember about rhinos, nothing more than that. And from Indian perspective, that one horn rhino, if you come to the one horn rhino, then one horn rhino are means mainly it is that found in, or mainly its population is very high in that Kaziranga National Park. You know that where is Kaziranga National Park? So Kaziranga National Park, it is in Assam. In Pobitora also it's that density is high, Pobitora. But its population, if you talk about the rhinos population, one horn rhino population, then mainly it is found in Kaziranga National Park. So इतना आपको याद रखना. Now coming to the next thing here, nothing more important to remember. And one is, if you come to this, then yes, why rhinos are in the news, that I will talk about. So you know that the rhinos, the horn, that is very much important. That are being, you can say, illegally people are poaching rhino because of that horn also, because it is a creatine, the source of protein. You know that the nail, our hair, that consists of what? Creatine is a protein kind of thing. So the one horn rhino that is that poached illegally, it is poached for what? For creatine. So creatine is a kind of protein, whereas in a human hair, in nails, we we have. And it is traditional medicines in Southeast Asia. So people use these traditional medicines. Some myth is also associated with this creatine, that one horn rhino. So traditional medicines. So rhinos are mainly killed for their horns only. So this much, that basic things, that static portions, you have to remember for rhinos. Now coming to the news, why it was in the news. So if you come to the news, that analysis here, what scientist has developed here, that it was in the news. So as scientist has developed that radioactive material, one radioactive material which they are implanting in rhino's horn. And that radioactive material is very in a very low quantity. That potential is very negligible. That means it's not impacting on the health of rhino, because the research have been done extensively by the scientist. So that is not harming the rhino. So in that is limited quantity, they are using such radioactive material, which they are by creating hole in the that horn, they are putting that radioactive material. So what this radioactive material will do, that when that if what illegally, when the poachers are poaching those rhino for the horn, then what will happen when they are crossing the border, national border or an international border, then every border there is a kind of a machines set up there, that is which machines are kind of which are that uh, means that machines are mainly detecting the that radioactive material. Like if you are importing or you are exporting certain kinds of that nuclear weapons or any kind of stress which are associated with nuclear technology or some things, then you have to first of all take the permissions. You can't export import that's gone. So they have for illegally for to that stop the to stop that illegal that import and export of such that illegal kind of a nuclear weapon or something something which in nuclear technology, or you can say nuclear substance, radioactive substances are used. So such things are that detectors are put at the borders. So what here will be happen after that, with radioactive material, that radiation detectors which are already placed at national borders, that to detect the horns and help the authorities to arrest the poachers and traffickers. So radioactive materials are there. So what they will happen, they will help the detectors to detectors to detect the you can say that horns, and to detect the poachers and traffickers, help the detectors to detect the poachers and traffickers. So it was the kind of that the scientists have developed this kind of things. Now according to IUCN, this that if you want to remember, then for your knowledge, for your awareness, you can remember, and you can also mention in that when it is asking the mains question about the what that methods, what suggestions can be implemented, what methods can be implemented to stop these kinds of illegal things, to stop these kinds of poaching, these kinds of trafficking. In every case, in elephant you can also use. So first they have done it as a pilot project on rhinos. Now after then, when it will become successful, then they will apply this method on elephant also, on that certain vulnerable species also, for which poachings are very much high, like elephants, pangolins, because the for carotene they are mainly that they are exported, their the horns are being exported, their skins are being exported. Getting no? So these kinds of things scientists are not developing. So according to IUCN, what IUCN has told that global rhino population, which was around 50,000, which was around 50,000, or which was around 5 lakh, which was around 5 lakh, which was around 5 lakh at the beginning of 5 lakh at the beginning of 20th century. But now this population of rhino stands around 27,000. So you can see how much declination has happened in the rhinos population. And why this declination has happened, rhino population currently it is this much population, and why this declination has happened? Due to the black market of rhino horns. So due to the black market for rhino horns. So because of these things, the scientist has come forward by developing this, so that this can be that deter the poachers and traffickers. So this was in the news. So you can also mention, because these things they will not ask you in means that in prelims, mainly the way forward or the suggestions kinds of things. But yes, what I have that taught you that earlier, that yes, what basic things are there about their that status, about IUCN status, in which locations they are found, how much that which species of rhinos are there, what are their IUCN status, why they are important, like for creatine. So these things you have to remember for prelims, because they have asked in that PYQ in previous years questions. Also in a state PCS you will also get these kinds of things. So this was the news for these rhinos. Now coming to the next page, that is first page of Indian Express. Here nothing is important on this first page. Not important news on second page, not on third page also. If you come to the fourth page, that is on this city news, that is mainly that dealing with today's the how the rain has happened in Delhi, and how that it has created a problem there of water logging, potholes. So the means there is a many problems. Transport system also got choked, that drainage system also got choked. So now coming to this here, one thing you can write for your means answers when they are asking for you in the disaster management chapter about the how that disasters can be reduced, what can be the way forward for the improving the, you can say, drainage systems. So here some points are given from that this news. I am picking up those points, that management points, and I am dictating here. So what will happen, that these points you can not only write for that these disasters occurring due to this waterlogging problem and rain, or any kind of that intense or cloudburst situation, but for every other things also, for drainage systems you can write these suggestions. So now coming to this drainage system, the drainage problem in Delhi, mainly they are given for Delhi, but you can write this point for every city. And also like in Bangalore, you have seen that that was also in the news very much when the rain has started in Bangalore, then how much problem it's created in mainly the city, in airport regions. So there that systems got choked here, every transport systems that it's also hampered your economic system, inflations also rises. So these kinds of problems it creates. So here if here I mention the topic, so you can write about that water logging problem, water logging, or you can say drainage system. What are the problems, key regions are there for problems, so you can say that about the problems. So first of all that is that you can say that there are lack of coordination, because first of all there is a lack of coordination among different departments. because see in city area there is not only one department, there are various departments. One deals with the sewage problem, one deals with the sewage treatment program, one deals with collecting the garbage, one deals with that going to discharge the garbage in at landfill area where the garbage are being filled. So there are different departments. So one are going to clean those drainage area, one are going to do the desiltation of the drainage area. So there are various departments, and those all departments, the coordination are not happening at that at means the coordinations are not very much effective that among those departments. So it's a lack of coordination among different departments, that PW departments are also not having the coordinations. Now second thing is the poor infrastructure, and that are the common points. If you will think also, then obviously you can come up with these points. So poor infrastructures are there, faulty designs are the reason, faulty designs, how you are constructing the buildings, how you are constructing the we can say the drainage systems. Somewhere you are not giving that kind of a slope, so sometimes that it is not able to that desilted, or somewhere it's got choked by the plastic bottles or various garbage. So the faulty design, increasing population, there is also very that major reason of that the choking of this drainage system, increasing populations. Because see that today also that Yamuna belt, that Ganga belt, earlier that flood plain, that was mainly their forest area was there, or that was a that not you can just you can say that that was not populated ground, means people were not settled on that Jamuna flood plains. Or so what was happening in the that rainy seasons, that the waters comes to that flood plain, and after that it got receded over period of time. But now what is happening, the people have settled there. So obviously if water are being that if more rains are happening, then what that are getting flooded, and obviously that rain waters go into the people's house. So it creates a kind of a problem. So population density is also increasing very much in a city, slums area are getting developed, so sanitation facilities are also not that much effective there. So that is the major reason, and major reason are also different major reasons are also there's a long pending drainage master plan. So it's also you can say that manifestation of this only coordination, because if that plan is not being implemented, then it's a result into the poor drainage system also, and means there is no lack of there is no coordinations among the different organizations, different you can say that uh, departments. So this program, that is the drainage master plan, that is not being implemented. So long pending drainage master plan. So if you will see that in Bangalore these things are happening, raining is happening, and there water logging problem, different problems are there. Then you will see in newspaper, in Hindu also, in Indian Express also, various articles are coming, various editorials are coming, and many you can say that public work departments officials are also writing how the systems can be checked, how the systems can be more effective. But that is only coming as a suggestion, but nothing is going to be get implemented on you can ground level. So this problem persists, and every year we see these problems, every year articles we read, but nothing improvement is happening there. So these things are there, you should remember. You can also write in your exam that in mains paper when they are asking for the problems, and obviously by writing the problems only you can suggest here solutions, that yes, coordination should be there, infrastructure should be improved, that climate resilient infrastructure should be made, that groundwater recharge kind of a things, that rainwater, if you are harvesting the rainwater, proper storage system should be there. So desiltation should be there. So desiltation is not also happening in a very good manner. Desiltation, see one drainage systems either you see in your that in मोहल्ला only, then आप अगर अपने मोहल्ला में भी देखेंगे तो नाली जो मतलब नाली में जो डिसिल्टेस मतलब सिल्टेशन जो पूरा बैठ जाता, तो दैट वाटर इज नॉट फ्लोइंग दैट easily. So obviously that waters that at the flow point where the water enters and it's go to the drainage system, there some plastics, some different that garbage materials, वो क्या कर वहाँ चोक चोक कर देती है, जिसके कारण वो क्या होता है कि आपको वाटर का फ्लो रुक जाता है. So that's siltation, that desiltation is not and that's work is of that public work department, either of or municipal department, but they are not working also. Here also lack of that coordinations is there. So they are not doing these kinds of things here. So these problems you can explain here. So these were the certain points which I want to discuss. Now coming to the next page. If you come to the next page, then next page, page number 6 also, nothing important for your exam perspective, not on page 7 also, not on page 8 also, not on 9 also. It's deals with political news. If you come to page number 10, then you can read those that one it is there a to-do list for how to boost demand or labor intensive sectors, how to create more labor intensive export oriented sectors. So this you can read, this it's a kind of awareness you can mention also in your answers, but it's not very important, so I have not. You can easily read, learn, you can easily read also, so I have not I will not take this topic here. Now coming to the economic here, if you see, then in economic also nothing is more important here. If you see, then one that about it is given about FATF, that it has said that India should compliant, so India should compliant with that requirements. So what requirements, that how the money laundering case, terrorist financing. So it has that flags concern about the India's, how India is complying with that FATF or not. So here that news is not important, but here the FATF that is important, because UPSC has also asked about in FATF, what is FATF, how much members are there. So you should know about this FATF. Now coming to the FATF, if you see about the FATF, then some important that terms you should remember here. Now coming to the FATF. So FATF, its full form is Financial Action Task Force. Financial Action Task Force. It is a global money laundering and terrorist financing watchdog. It is a global money laundering and terrorist financing watchdog. It was set up in 1989, and where it was set up, it was set up out of a G7 meeting of developed nation in Paris. So it has come out of the G20 G7 meeting. So G7 countries have set up this financial action task force in Paris. So this much point you should know about it, nothing to go into detail. So initially its objective was to examine and develop measures to combat money laundering, but after that 9/11 attack in US, you all know that how it created that kind of a situation, America. So it attack was in the America, so that it's expanded its mandate to incorporate efforts to combat the terrorist financing. So earlier it was dealing with only money laundering case, but now after that attack it has also started dealing with terrorist financing. So, and in April 2012 also it has given that some more that objective. It has some more objective was included in this financial action task force, a more objective was given to this watchdog, that yes, how to stop the financing for the proliferation of weapon of mass destruction, how then you were using the nuclear weapons. So that kinds of things, this watchdog, this financial action task force look upon. So this was in the news, this much you can remember here. Now coming to the membership groups, today we can see there are 39 members of this watchdog. 39 members are there, and in which the 39 members, there are two regional European organizations, that European Commission and Gulf Cooperation Council. So these both are different organizations, but yes, many countries consist of this Gulf Cooperation Council, Gulf countries mainly. European Commission and mainly the European countries are the member of this. If you come to, then there are various, if you can't remember these all 39 members, but yes, important is that yes, Brazil, Canada, China is also there, Iceland is there, in India is also there. First of all, you have to remember, yes, India is member or not, because UPSC is asking that India is member of this organization or not. So India is a member, China is a member, you know. So these things you have to remember. If only you remember that India is a member. So India has joined that with observer status in 2006, but it becomes a full member in 2010. This much you know. Observer status they are not asking. Yes, 2010 and India is member. This question can also be asked in your BPSC also. That exams which are this upcoming BPSC exam, there you can see. So this much you can remember. Nothing more than that. If you remember here one, that its headquarter, then its headquarter is located in Paris. There it was formed only, so it is quarter in Paris only. That one thing also you can remember here. Now yes, it's releases how that country are complying with its rule also or not. So according to that, it financial action task force, they put the country in gray list, black list. Earlier the gray list that Pakistan was added, but I think they have excluded that Pakistan from that gray list. But in black list, if you see that North Korea is there, Iran is there, Myanmar is there. Myanmar has been added latest addition has been there. After that coup has Myanmar has been that recently added to the list due to the actions by the military leaders after the 2021 coup, where you have seen that how Myanmar is now militarily it is governed. So Myanmar is added. So if you come to that list, blacklist, then you can say that what they are doing the blacklist, they are freezing the account. There are no that import exports kind of things are happening. Their dollars are not being exchanged. So these things mainly they are not going to have a good relations with that country. So blacklist like North Korea, if you come to see, then they are asking the country also, North Korea, Iran is there, and Myanmar, which has been recently added here. So these are the things here. So earlier the Pakistan was added in this grey list, but yes, now they have removed this Pakistan from the grey list. So because the Pakistan has progressed, they have complied with the law, what the FTF laws has been made. So these things are there. You have you can remember, not more than that. Here it is important. So this was in the news. Now, not more than that, you have to see in this economy paper. Now coming to the editorial page. See, today there is not very much in Saturday paper. If you see, then various reviews of movies are there, where you can see the reviews, you can read, and if you are getting the interest, then you can watch those movies in your that weekend days. You can watch your movies on weekend, but first of all you read these reviews, what is in the story, how much a star it has been given, so you can watch it. But coming to this editorial page, if you come to the editorial page, then in editorial page also, earlier I have talked about that which the after July 1 that rule are changing. Earlier there was IPC, CRPC, that Indian Evidence Act. Now that rules are going to replaced with after July 1 that Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita, Bharatiya Saksh Adhiniyam. So these are the rules, and if you come to these rules, then here if you see that about these new rules, where the Indian terminology is used here, and some reforms, some kind of reforms are also, some amendment has also happened in this rule. So when you come to the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, so what the state PCS or in UPSC also you will see, they are simply asking the question, and it is saying that which rules has been replaced by this. So if you come to the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, then it is going to replace the Indian Penal Code, IPC. This you should remember. In the match the following they can also ask you. So IPC 1860. And if you come to the Bharatiya Nyaya Suraksha Sanhita, then it is going to Suraksha means then obviously by applying your common sense also you can remember here CRPC. If you come to the CRPC, then CRPC Criminal Procedure Code of Criminal Procedure 1973 CRPC. And thus that the Bharatiya Saksh Adhiniyam, you can write the full form also, because I am writing here that abbreviation. You can forget also. So you, first of all you remember this full form, and that you can the match the following you can be asked in your exam. So if you come to the, because in test paper also if you see, then different coaching center has, and different exams are also asked about it. If you have given that CSIR, or you can say that IB exams were there, in that also they have asked you this question repeatedly. So various exams they are asking, because it in the news, and it forms the polity questions, so obviously they will ask you. So that Bharatiya Saksh Sanhita, this program, this that rule is going to replace the Indian Evidence Act. Here I am writing this form, full form, Indian Evidence Act of 1870. So these the rules were made by British. So you are now the government is trying to change that what the backlog, what the baggage the British has provided. So they are trying to remove those baggage, those legacy of the British. So mentality should be changed. So it's that the laws should be reformed, and it should be the at the Indian cultures, according to the Indian norms, Indian value. So they are replacing this law. So you will see that after implementation, which is July 1st, after July 1st, so various articles, various editorials will be coming in the newspapers, in either Indian Express or that in Hindu. So after coming those news on in paper, you can read, but I suggest here that आप लोग को मतलब मैं पूरा दैट एडिटोरियल का न्यूज़ नहीं पढ़ना है यार, बिकॉज व्हाट विल हैपन दैट there will be for 1 month you will see that every day one criticisms will be there, one editorial will be about the appreciation, one recommendations. So how much you will prepare for it? You have to write in 250 words only. So I suggest here that pick up the 10 points, pick up there the 10 points about the, you can say that pick up 10 points about that what recommendations should be given. Pick up the 10 points about that what that criticisms should be there, and pick up the 10 points about what the appreciations the law will have, what the appreciations, or you can say that yes, appreciations only. So if you will combine these 3 points, then obviously your answer will be formed here, because in answers only these 3 formats you are giving. The introduction, where you can give about the appreciation. Introduction, you will write about how those laws came into the picture, how earlier, why, how British developed this law, how came, and after that what recommendations, what criticisms, and first of all appreciations you will add, after that criticism, which how it has been criticized, and after that in conclusion you can write this recommendation. So in these formats you can remember these 10 points. After that you leave those that editorial. If there any editorial is coming on this kind of Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, or any kind of this means only on any topic, if these tutorials are coming, then you should leave this. So by writing these 20-30 points, your answer is ready. Not more than that you have to prepare for your prelims or your mains also. So this much. So let us that first of all, let us that let implementation will to be let implementation be done. After that, we will see how, what recommendations, what criticisms, and what appreciation this law have. So these things I want to share. Now coming to the next topic, one was there of that one day also I have taught you about that how the Foxconn that industry which is making the iPhone, that Foxconn has been in the news that Foxconn has means it has not given the that employment to the lady who has been married because of certain reasons, that they will be not as per what work requirements are there, that more number of hours they have to work. So the family family that family you can say time they that factory or that work will not provide to the lady. So different problems are there. So that has been come into news that how married women that marries restrict the woman to work, to provide the work, to work in the that means to get financially independent. So these kinds of news has come here. So if you see the data here, nothing is important more. They have talked about the criticisms, how the women are denied from the work. So what double burdens are there, they have to also work on in home also. If they are doing the jobs also, then also the societal expectations are there for working in the home, for caring the loved ones, for caring the their parents, for taking the rearing the child. So these are the things which you can create a barriers for women to work outside of their home to earn the money. So it is, if you remember the data, one data that is important here, that it is said in 2033, in 2023, for instance, women's labor force participant, 2033, women's labor labor force participation rate stood at 32.7% compared to 76.8% for men. So you can see how much that gap is there, how much gender disparity is there. If means it is almost double, if you see more than double also, that if 76% of men are working, then only 32.7% of women are working. So you can see the gap. So how much loopholes are there, how much gaps are there in the employment process. So you can imagine. So there are various criticisms that the crèche facility is not available, certain that you can say the public in private employment, what is happening, that the factory, the institution, organization, or you can say the company are not giving the employment to the women, because of they think that after certain period, when they will become a motherhood, or when they will become pregnant, then obviously they have to take rest. So 6 month 9 months maternity leave they will have to be given. So they are that discouraging the women employment. They are not taking the women as an employment in those that companies. So these things criticisms they have author has been given. So you can read it here. It's not very much that tough to read. So these things here I want to talk about now. So these were the things. Now, if you come to the explain page, in explain page, I have also talked about in earlier that newspaper analysis about the emergency topic. So now you know that 50th year has 50 years has passed about for this emergency, which was mainly on 27 June 1975, I think, if I am correct. So this 25 June it was celebrated, means it was remembered as a black day, you kind of things. You can see that news is also coming because that black day which India has seen. So there was I have also talked about this emergency in very much detail. So which articles deal with this emergency, how the presidents had the power to that that proclaim this kind of emergency, what the cabinet has the power, what the council of ministers have given the power. So today also in very much detail it has been given. If you can read, you can read yourself only, but yes, important points I will discuss here. So different about the different articles, what were the different that amendments made after this emergency. So if you come to this emergency topic, so it is in very news, and obviously it is your that syllabus part of your that polity chapters also, where you have read about this emergency. So if you come to this emergency, that is a national emergency. National emergency. So in the national emergency, if you come to, then you know that in India 3 times this national emergency has been imposed. One was in 1962 when Indo-China war was happening, in 1971 when the war with Pakistan was there, and in 1975 that the political ramification, you can see that political, for the political insecurity, this you can say that this national emergency was imposed. So this is considered as a, you kind of say that it's not you can a good reason. Here you can consider that yes, it's follow the reasons which are mentioned in the constitution, like yes, war, external aggression, and if there is armed rebellion, then yes, also you can impose emergency. But for the this internal disturbance, there is no mention of the in the constitution that yes, you can that impose the emergency. But in the Indira Gandhi time period, she has imposed this emergency as there was political insecurity. So they have talked about these kinds of things. So we do not get detail into this that debate that why this was these kinds of things. You can already read, but we will deal here with the questions which can ask, like what articles deal with it, what amendments have been made after this emergency. If you come to this that article 352. In article 352, that in the constitution, the president, it is saying that the president may, on the advice of the council of ministers which are headed by the prime minister, issue a proclamation of emergency if the security of India or any part of the country is threatened by war or external aggression or armed rebellion. So saying that the president has the power, मतलब हमारे राष्ट्रपति के पास ये पावर होता है कि वो आपको इमरजेंसी को प्रोक्लेम कर सकते हैं। तो वो इमरजेंसी को जब प्रोक्लेम कर सकते हैं अंडर आर्टिकल 352, एंड व्हाट आर द ग्राउंड्स ऑन विच द प्रेसिडेंट कैन प्रोक्लेम द इमरजेंसी, सो दैट ग्राउंड्स आर देयर द ऑन द वार, external aggression and armed rebellion. So if you remembered by this terminology wear, so it is a mnemonics, you will not forget about. So though in, but it is said that in 1975 what happened, so instead of armed rebellion, the ground was of internal disturbance. So government says that no, the armed rebellion is there only because at that time Jayaprakash Narayan and various leaders, socialist leaders, they proclaimed that yes, there is authoritarian kind of power is growing in the country. So they have told the police, or you can say that armies, to not to respond the sayings, the not respond the rules which they are made by the government. So the Indira Gandhi has that means proclaimed, or you can say that, and announced that emergency. So these are the things it here is mentioned. And you know that in emergency, that all the fundamental rights are also, you can say, suspended, mainly that the, you can say, the article, if you come to the article 19, that freedom of speech, expression, that are also being suspended here, that were curtailed. Now article 359. So these articles you can read through Lakshmikant also. Here I am giving that in brief. I am talking about this article. So if article 59 you see, then according to the article 350, article 359, it is, article it is 3 article 359, it empowers the president to suspend the right of people to move court for the enforcement of their fundamental right during emergency. Means here it is saying the president can suspend the president can suspend the enforcement. Here the president can suspend the enforcement. Here president cannot suspend its total in that total rights, the total fundamental rights. It can suspend the enforcement of fundamental rights during emergency only, during emergency only. But after the emergency is removed, after the emergency is that curtailed, it is removed, then the persons whose fundamental rights have been violated, they can, without any hesitation, they can move to the Supreme Court or High Court for their fundamental rights, that what fundamental that government or the state has violated there. So these kinds of things, you remember that is fundamental rights are violated, that suspended, but it enforcement is suspended. That fundamental rights is totally not suspended, its enforcement is suspended. And if you consider then emergency, then accept, you will see that accept article 20 and 21, which deals with the that right to life and liberty. Article 20 with this with the arrest, the arrest, how the arrest are happening, so that the right to arrest means if persons who are being arrested, what are their rights, so that rights should not be violated here. So these things are the important things which I have discussed. This was in the news. If you will read here, then yes, what political that circumstances created this kinds of problem, how different that leaders, they have been put in the jails behind the bars. It is saying that about 36,000 people were put behind the bars under this MISA Act, Maintenance of Internal Security Act, which are mainly, you can call it as today's UAP Act. That was also this kinds of act. If you are a threat for the national security, if you, the government said that you are threat for the national security, for internal peace, internet for that national peace, if you are threatening the Indian sovereignty, so obviously that UAPA Act will be imposed on you. So these things were, various newspapers were banned. You can say their things were confiscated. That electricity was not that it was that electricity was not given, so that they can continue with the publishing of the newspapers. So these things were happening at that time points. Now here one case is also there in when the Supreme Court in Avam ADM Jabalpur case. If you have read in your polity books also, ADM Jabalpur case, ADM Jabalpur versus Shivkant Shukla. It was in 1970s. Here, Supreme Court has told that the detention without trial was legal during the emergency. It's not that any time you can legally detain anyone without any trial. No, but during emergency you can detain anyone. That trial was legal during an emergency. So detention without trial was legal during an emergency. So detention without trial was legal during an emergency. So this was the about the ADM Jabalpur case. So what happened that after this emergency was removed, then what happened that it was when emergency was lifted, then this the Congress power that got defeated, this Congress government, and the Janata Party government came to the power, where different coalitions were there of that Sangh, Jan Sangh, Congress, or the Socialist, Bharatiya Lok Dal. So different. So first non-Congress Prime Minister is Morarji Desai. That can also be asked in your that in BPSC. If you see, then these kinds of questions are asked in a state PCS exam. So you can say that Morarji Desai. So Morarji Desai, first non-Congress PM. If you come to the at the time of these questions can be also asked on emergency, that at the time of that proclamation of emergency, who were the president? Because you all know that the prime minister was Indira Gandhi. We all know about her name only, that emergency she has imposed. But who was the president at that time? So that at the president at the time of emergency was that Fakhruddin Ali Ahmad. So yes, that's and the proclamation. President at time of emergency. So this was the things here. You can say that after what happened, after emergency was removed, then different you can say that uh, that let's say that different that amendments happened in the constitutions. If you see about then what amendment at the time of Indira Gandhi, that amendment was happened, that they have reversed those amendments, like 47 amendment of 18 at 1976 42nd Amendment Act of 1976. That amendments the Janata government reversed, and new amendment it has brought, that is 44th Amendment 1976. So the what wrongs were in the what that corrections they have given, they have provided in 44th Amendment of 1978. So what Indira Gandhi has done in the 38th amendment, that they had barred the judicial review. So if you that UPSC are also asking on prelims, they are asking about amendment also, which are very much important amendment, because they have asked about them in like 42nd 44th amendment, like it is saying the plight to property, which was removed by which amendment, that socialist integrity, that secularism. So which articles, which on by which amendments these words has been added. So these types of questions they are asking in your prelims examination. So now coming to this amendment 38th is Constitutional Amendment Act of uh, 38th Constitutional Amendment Act. So this amendment act was happened, and according to these amendment acts, the god that it has barred the judicial review of the emergency. Judicial review of emergency. Earlier, this amendment was not that important, but when it comes to the news, then every news becomes important. Obviously, those news which are mainly related to your syllabus part, like emergency, polity news. Polity news are very much important for this point. So this that point. Now, 38th Constitutional Amendment Act. Now this you have been, अब देखते हैं 39th Constitutional Amendment Act. This according to this Constitutional Amendment Act, the election of Prime Minister could not be challenged in Supreme Court. So how much of means these amendments has provided a power to the government, that Supreme Court also cannot do any kind of review if that prime minister elections, if there is dispute related in the prime minister election. So said that election of the PM could not be challenged in Supreme Court. So these were the one line things you can remember, nothing more important in this. Now coming to the 42nd Constitution, because see amendments, there are various that articles, there is various you can say that provisions in the any amendment, but which are related to the news, that provisions only you have to remember. So 49th Constitutional Amendment 1976. See, you can remember these things like 42nd, 4 2 plus 6, 4 plus 2 6, so 1976. So here in 1976 what happened, that judiciary rights to hear election petitions, that was taken away. Now it has that widened the authority of the union, encroached on state subjects. So earlier so judicial review was taken away, but also it has that union has more power to make the law and state subject. So it already have widened the authority of the union to encroach on a state subject, gave parliament that uneven power to amend the constitution without no judicial review possible, and made any law passed by parliament to implement any or all directive principle of state policy immune to judicial review. So means the law made by parliament and DPSP that were immune to means judicial review, means you can't go to the court and challenge this law. So these kinds of things that time happened during the emergency, immune to judicial review. So after this, when emergency was revoked, then that 144th constitutional amendment was done in 44th constitutional amendment. Here also you can remember 1978. 4 plus 4 8 1978. That was in a 4 plus 4 plus 2 1976. So it is 4. So what the amendments which were done before this before this revocation of emergency, that wrongs that corrections were made in this 44th amendment. So and mainly here it's also that internal disturbances which was imposed by this Indira Gandhi as the ground for the imposition of emergency, that amendment was done, and the armed rebellion it was replaced by armed rebellion. No, so these were the things. So internal disturbance was removed because it's a very vague term. Anything can be the internal disturbance. It's simply kind of that communalism will be there. Simply kind of communal kind of tensions will be there. Then government will simply impose the national event. So these kinds of create a kind of very vague power also. Vague definitions is also there. So that internal disturbance was removed, and it has included replaced with removed in replaced with which armed rebellion along with war and external. That's what earlier that was there, war and external aggression. So this was the things, and the one is the Shah that commission. You know that BPSC are also asking some commission, some committee that what this committee has recommended, for which this commission was made, this committee was made. So you can remember in one line here, the it was constituted by the Janata government to report on the imposition of emergency and adverse effect. So it was mainly, I can say that here the Shah commission was made mainly for what it was made mainly for, to report the imposition of emergency and its adverse impacts. So mainly you can say the review of emergency impacts. So in one line you can remember these things. So these the important points I have taken from this explained page, because it is in I think more than that 250-500 words. You can remember for your interest. Yes, you will get interest also by reading this kind of polity news. But which point which is very much relevant for your prelims, your mains, that I have taken here and I have discussed here. So during emergency only, that Sanjay Gandhi has also brought different rules also, like you can, if you see that family planning was also there. So it is said that in India was the country in the world, the first country to come with the law of family planning. In 1952 itself that law was implemented, but yes, he has brought more kind of aggressiveness in the law, like forced sterilization, you can see. So that 5 points he has given to that. One was population control, one was afforestation, abolition of dowry, removal of illiteracy, and slum clearance. But all these 4 points are taken a backseat. But what mainly the Sanjay Gandhi government, they have focused on more, you can say that kind of aggressive policy they have come up with, that forced sterilization. So it has created a kind of backlash to the government also, and that is considered as a dark legacy, a kind of a dark period, that emergency period. So this was in the news. You can remember, you can learn by, you can read this also by yourself. So you will get certain points, and you will feel interested also by reading this kind of news. So this was overall what of that today's newspaper, that Indian Express. I think I have covered it comprehensively, what is main important for your exams, because there are many news. If you read, it's a kind of that time pass news. Mainly if you read the paper, then you come across those news and you read it by glancing it over. But what was the important that I have taught you today. So that's all for today. Thank you very much.